an incredible honor to be here. I would just love to thank firstly the organizers for inviting me here. The work you are doing is absolutely incredible. As I walk through the exhibitions outside, I saw it's not only a program that is teaching you technical skills, but it's teaching you how to also pitch yourselves and position yourselves in the outside world, and I think that is such an incredible skill to have. Max. Thank you so much for the incredible welcoming and invite and honor. So, my name is Qhawekazi Mazaleni. I am Miss South Africa 2025. But behind that, I am a qualified speech therapist. I am an educational activist, and I'm a self-published children's author. Thank you. And 2 years ago, I sat in a position that is very similar to where you are seated right now. I was at my graduation ceremony on the verge of walking into the working environment. And for me, it was a time of incredible opportunity, but a lot of unknown as well. One thing about being a speech therapist is once you graduate, you move into what is called your community service year. Often you get a chance to kind of pick and choose where you want to go, but for me, I didn't get any of my choices. I got Mazaleni Regional Hospital, based in Pretoria in Mazaleni. Now, when the news came initially, I was a bit excited, but the first thought in my head was that Batuba Pretoria, Babulela in Sepedi. What am I teaching? Sepedi, because I am a speech therapist. So I didn't quite understand exactly how that was going to work, but I'm somebody who is always up for the challenge. So I get home, I pack all of my bags, and in 2 days' time, we move over to Pretoria. I remember arriving at the hospital, and as much as there was the excitement of entering the working world, there was also almost a bit of a struggle, not really knowing how I'm going to navigate this. But there are 3 key principles that have governed me from the time I graduated to me standing here in front of you. The first one is realizing that your actual character is your currency. When I stepped into Mazaleni Regional Hospital, I saw that I was struggling really to connect with my patients because of that language barrier. When you're able to really understand the language of the person that you're speaking with, even next year, well, in the next few months, when you're working with your clients, there's a specific culture and energy that specific institutions have. And once you step into that and you haven't quite assimilated, it may feel as though you are a bit of an outsider or you're struggling a little bit. And the second thing was that I was a junior speech therapist in a team which was incredibly experienced. And with that, a little bit of imposter syndrome started creeping in. But one thing I kept reminding myself is my character. And because you are all sitting in this room today, there is one thing I can tell you about your character. It is that you are resilient. You signed up for the programs that you signed up for, not knowing exactly how it was going to go. And I'm sure you failed, you ran into errors with your code, but you tried time and time again until you were able to get it right. And the second thing I know about your character is that you are accountable. You're accountable to yourselves, you're accountable to the dreams that you have, and you're accountable to the outcomes that you wanted to see. So that's the one thing I really took in. It's that my character is my currency. And once I approached Mazaleni Regional Hospital with that mindset, 2 things started to change. The first one, I started becoming a lot more fluent kaSpedi sak. If you were to come to me today and try to get me to have a fluent conversation, I will struggle a bit. But it was so beautiful because I was vulnerable with my patients, and they were able to see me actively trying day by day, which also increased their faith in me. The second thing I started to see was my supervisors beginning to trust me more, to the extent where they started leaving me unsupervised to run the entire department, which to me was a bit of a shock, but to them it's because they saw that my character was reliable. So that's the first key principle I learned. Your character is your currency. Look back at what you have achieved. You seated here in this room today is also just a testament to your character, and remind yourself of that everywhere that you go. The second thing that I have learned in my journey is that your community is your absolute greatest strength. I'm sure you guys have seen how Uomba has supported me everywhere during my journey of Miss South Africa. She was there making sure that I am supported. And during the entire journey of Miss South Africa, I had actually stopped working where I was working. This was before I even entered the competition, and I was looking for a new job. But at the same time, I was a master's student. I find out I am now in the Miss South Africa pageant, but I don't have a wardrobe. And at the time, I had lost a really, really close friend of mine. So I was also struggling really to navigate those different environments and just those different emotions that I was going through. But what I started to see was my community rallying behind me. My friends started inviting me over to come to their different places to pick out clothes from their cupboards. My landlord and her partner would invite me over to their house for supper because they could see how spread thin I was. And lastly, my sisters kept on calling me incessantly to make sure that I had that community. And I can tell you right now, without my community consistently backing me, consistently showing up for me, and consistently pouring into me, I wouldn't have had the strength to be able to show up wholeheartedly as myself. So I want to urge you, as you step into this new chapter, rely wholeheartedly in your community. Allow them to celebrate you and allow them to uplift you. But most importantly, pour back into that community, because it is so beautiful what happens when you have an incredible community that you are supporting and is also supporting you. And the third thing that I have learned in my journey is to dream boldly and do not be scared of being seen trying. I was actually reminded today when I walked in and I was going through the different exhibitions. It was this exhibition now, the one about the inmates and the recruitment. I was speaking to them, and Precious actually reminded me about how I started on my social media journey and on TikTok. What I started with there was learning how to code in Python. I was in my fourth year of varsity, and I had this idea of almost like a speech therapy app, but I had no background of technology. So I got a course off of Udemy, and that's how I started learning Python. But because of the demands of the program, my actual undergraduate program that I was in, I didn't see it to completion. But what it reminded me now, having that conversation with Precious, is that it's so important to have the audacity to try. Because it's only then that you're able to really see that your dreams are possible, and that you are able to really bring the ideas into your mind and see them through to fruition. Fast forward to last year, I had written a children's book in isiXhosa called Mazaleni. Because during my university experience, I realized that a lot of children in our country don't have access to books and resources that they can resonate with. I took it upon myself to write a book for a child I was seeing called the Sinenhlanhla. Very simple book in isiXhosa, looking at counting and colors. I had gone home, put it together on Canva, ran to the library, printed it, stapled it together, and had gone to my practicals the next day with it. And what I had seen from that little prototype that I had was her start lighting up and really engaging in the sessions that we had. So it was that having an idea and acting on it. And last year I took it upon myself to self-publish this book to make sure that more children had access to books and resources. And I genuinely believe that's what catapulted my entire journey and where I stand now as Miss South Africa. But it's only because I had that courage and that audacity to believe in that dream. And even though I was definitely not qualified to become a children's book author, I took it upon myself to take a chance. And that's what I want you to do stepping into this next chapter of yours. Take a chance on yourself. I have seen the incredible work that you guys are able to do with all of the prototypes that I have seen today. And again, I just want to urge you to take a chance on yourself, to put yourselves in rooms where you may feel like you are the youngest, or you may feel as though you are the least qualified, but one thing I can tell you is that your presence there is noted, and that you are able and capable of making changes in the spaces that you see yourselves in. As you sit here today, you are the innovators of your career fields. You are the disruptors of systems, and you really are the agents of your life. So I want you to remember those key principles that I've touched on. Your character is your currency. Your community is your absolute greatest strength. And do not be afraid to be seen trying, because life really does meet you at the level of your audacity. Thank you so much.